been gunfire and explosions in Sudan's capital Khartoum as the Sudanese army clashes with paramilitary forces.
Welcome to Staffworks Explained, a channel that explores events, initiatives, and issues in different parts of the world, but with more focus on Africa. In today's video, we'll be talking about the current situation in Sudan, the conflict that is ongoing. ACLED has listed the Sudan conflict as one of the conflicts to worry about in 2023. ACLED, which is ACLED, stands for Armed Conflict Location and Event Data Project. These are disaggregated data collection, analysis, and crisis mapping project that collects information on the dates, actors, locations, fatalities, and types of all reported political violence and protest events around the world. This project observes that Sudan continues to face intersecting political and economic challenges in coinciding with increased violence, which involves paramilitary forces in peripheral areas as well as ongoing anti-government demonstrations in Khartoum. Violence has intensified in the peripheries during the first months of this year, especially in Darfur and disputed Abyei area. And this also continues with power struggles, which are between the elements in the army and paramilitary elites, such as Mohamed Dagalo, also known as Hemedi. Since the coup in 2021, the military and paramilitary elites have struggled to maintain order as Sudan economics feel fall and hunger crisis continue unabated. This situation has escalated in the events that happened on Saturday, 16th April 2023, where the military and powerful paramilitary force in Sudan engaged in intense fighting in the capital and other parts of the country, and this resulted in multiple deaths, injuries, and it has dealt a severe blow to the hopes of a transition to the democracy. The country's doctor syndicate reports that 27 people have been killed and over 200 wounded, with unaccounted casualties, including military and paramilitary personnel in different regions. The clashes follow months of heightened tensions between the armed forces and the Rapid Support Force (RSF), which has delayed the deal with political parties to restore democracy after the October 21 military coup. After a day of heavy fighting, the military has rejected negotiations with the RSF and called for dismantling of what is deemed as rebellious militia. This signals that the conflict between the former allies, which orchestrated the coup, is likely to continue. The Sudan Doctor Syndicate has not immediately released the details of the death, but it has reported that 6 of them have occurred in Khartoum and the city of Omdurman, and other casualties in other regions. Witnesses have described the fighting as chaotic, with heavy gunfire and explosions heard throughout the day in densely populated areas, where both sides fired from armored vehicles and machine guns mounted on pickup trucks. Tanks were also seen at Khartoum, and the military reported launching strikes from planes and drones at RSF positions in and around the capital. The military has claimed that it has seized all the RSF bases in Omdurman, but residents have reported that there has been continued heavy airstrikes on paramilitary positions in and around the capital into the night, with gunfire and explosion heard in several parts of Khartoum. The situation has also affected Khartoum International Airport, with major airlines suspending flights and Saudi Arabia National Airline reporting one of the aircraft involved in an incident that caught fire on tarmac. The Sudan Doctor Syndicate has reported that civilians have been killed at the airport, and there are also reports of other casualties in different regions of the country. Conflicting accounts were given by the leaders of the armed forces and the RSF, with each side blaming the other for starting the fighting and claiming control of key installations. This fighting follows months of escalating tensions between the generals and the years of political unrest since 2021 coup. and this has stemmed from disagreement over the integration of RSF into the armed forces and oversight of the process where there is supposed to be transition to democracy. Pro-democracy activists have accused both sides of abuses against protests in the past, and RSF has been long accused of atrocity related to Darfur conflict. The outbreak of violence has raised extreme concern among international diplomats who have called for immediate cessation of violence, avoidance of further escalation, and continuation of talks to resolve the outstanding issues. Removal of al-Bashir, the former president of Sudan, in April 2018 marked a significant turning point in the country's political landscape. Al-Bashir, who had ruled Sudan for 3 decades, was overthrown by the military following widespread protests calling for his removal due to allegations of corruption, human rights abuses, and economic mismanagement. However, the removal of this dictator did not immediately result in smooth transition to democracy in Sudan. In the aftermath of his removal, tensions between the armed forces, the Rapid Support Forces, which is a paramilitary group led by General Mohamed Dagalo, also known as Hemeti, came to the forefront. The RSF, which was initially part of pro-government militia responsible for the Darfur conflict, had gained significant power and influence under al-Bashir regime. However, following his removal, the RSF sought to assert its authority and push for its own interests, leading to tensions within the military and other political parties in Sudan. These tensions were further exacerbated by delays in reaching a deal between the military and political parties to restore democracy in Sudan. In October 2021, a military coup led by General Abdel Fattah Burhan, the head of Sudan's Sovereign Council, dissolved the transition government that had been established after al-Bashir removal, leading to widespread protest and condemnation from the international community. The RSF was accused of being involved in the coup, and its leader, Hemeti, was seen as key player in the political crisis. The clashes that followed between the armed forces and RSF were seen as a manifestation of power struggle between different factions within Sudanese government and military. The RSF was accused of using excessive force against protesters and opposition groups, leading to further violence and instability in Sudan. The situation was further complicated by the involvement of other armed groups and militia in the conflict, resulting in a complex and a volatile security situation in the country. The political and crisis and violence in Sudan had dire consequences for prospect of restoring democracy and stability in the country. It caused a setback to the progress made towards democratic reforms after al-Bashir's removal, and further delays efforts to establish a civilian-led government. The international community, including regional and international organizations, have called for peaceful dialogue and return to the path of democratic transition in Sudan. But the situation has remained precarious and uncertain, and this is what has led to the current situation. In conclusion, the removal of al-Bashir in Sudan was a significant event that marked a turning point in the country's political landscape. However, the tensions between the armed forces and RSF, delays in reaching a deal to restore democracy, and subsequent political crisis and violence highlights the challenges and complexity of Sudan's transition towards democracy. Efforts to establish a stable and inclusive government that represents the aspiration of the Sudanese people continue to be work in progress, with need for a peaceful dialogue, reconciliation, and international support to overcome the obstacles and also achieve lasting peace and stability in Sudan. So we'll continue following the situation as it unfolds in Sudan, with further updates on what is happening in the country, and we hope that the current situation will improve and peace and order will return to the country. So thank you for watching this video. If it's your first time here, I encourage you to subscribe to this channel. If you are a repeat viewer, thank you for the support that you have given this channel. You can leave a comment, share the video, and also like. Thank you.